The MMA community has been on fire because I'm sure that you've seen by now, Dana White said that Jon Jones is not going to be on the UFC White House card. Myself and a lot of fans are very happy about this, so I'm going to walk you through the entire story and what people had to say about this in general. We're going to take replies from championship rounds over here, any other video clip that we take a look at, and this is a topic that hit the Explore page, so we're going to be gathering everything for you today. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. So let's take a look at the initial clip from Dana White, which I'm sure you've seen by now. This has been everywhere.
Jon Jones says he wants to be on.
Sorry about the volume there.
He says he would fight whoever the champion is at that time. But would you be okay with him like coming back and potentially winning that belt again? And you might have to go through.
Well, it's not even.
I thought the answer would be yes. I actually thought that they would put Jon Jones in the main event if it was available to them.
About him winning the belt. I mean, you know how I felt about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
And that's the most realistic take about it. Like, whether or not, I know some people think that Dana White's just using this as leverage and going to lowball Jon Jones and try to, have any sort of leverage into making a deal with him by having this type of attitude. But I actually think that this is the proper take to have. I don't understand. If you want to build supposedly the best card that you could possibly make, something even greater than UFC 300. Now, do I believe Dana's going to do that? Probably not. Dana has said this type of thing a lot, but I think the best thing that you could possibly do is keep Jon Jones and Conor McGregor far away, but especially Jon Jones. Plus, with the type of person that Jon Jones is, do you really want the White House card, the best representation of Americans that you could possibly get? Do you really want that as the main event? I'm surprised, but I'm happy to see that this is the reaction to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially the White House card.
Yeah, see, he's a crap person. He's had an extensive criminal record. What are you supposed to do? We're going to find out, too. He's going to be the main event. They're going to hype it up, and maybe he'll just be like, I don't feel like fighting anymore. Either that, or he'll party, and then, getting another hit and run, but close to the White House, now driving a car right through the White House. Could you imagine something like that? But the reactions to this were, as you could expect. There was one reply that said, oh, this felt so good to hear. I know Jon is seething, dude. And we're going to be taking a look at Jon Jones' reply and what people had to say about that, because Jon is being so fake as usual, dude. The Cake had this to say: thank God, finally showing some common sense. Hopefully he gets out of the pool and retires now. And yeah, I would imagine, because Jon Jones actually seems like he really wants to fight on this card. And I don't believe for a second that Jon Jones would have taken on Tom Aspinall. That would have been a Derek Lewis fight or an Alex Pereira fight. So we wouldn't have even gotten that, great matchup, right? But I agree with this. Hopefully he just gets out of there and falls into irrelevancy. But then again, myself and every single other YouTuber and UFC fan is keeping Jon Jones' name in relevancy, okay? Kenny had this to say: sobering truth that Jon needs to hear. Yeah, he's not going to understand, though. I think he's actually, he is actually a crazy person. I really believe that. So I think that he's going to, if you guys ever watched South Park, there's an episode where Cartman keeps misremembering things where he, helped Jimmy write a joke. If you guys watch South Park, you might know what I'm talking about, where he twists the story into his head to actually believe this alternate thing where it's Jon Jones is I've never caused the UFC any problems ever. I actually think he's that crazy. I do. And sorry if you didn't understand the South Park reference, but you get my point, okay? I hope he says the same about Conor. I agree with this completely. Conor McGregor cannot be trusted either. And Conor McGregor is not a good representation if you're looking to put, and Conor's not American, obviously, but I think that you need a good representation, a good person if you're going to, highlight a big fight at the White House. You know what I mean? Fight Talk had this to say about it. He was just saying that Jones and McGregor should fight on that card. Come on, Uncle Dana. Yeah, I thought so too, actually. I thought I remembered hearing something like this, but who knows? Yeah, it could be leverage. Who knows? It's possible. I just don't think that's the case, honestly. Brief had this to say: basically, Dana broke up with that cokehead wife beater. Yeah. Had a little bit of a falling out. Maybe Jon Jones. Yeah, now that Jon Jones doesn't have the belt, but they could have always stripped him, which is the weird thing to me, right? Thank you, Dana. Just make it McGregor and call it good. Nope, I want McGregor out of there too. As much as I would love to see Conor McGregor fight, I do not want to see Jon Jones fight. Conor McGregor, I'd be interested in a comeback, but I don't want him headlining any sort of big card. You know what I honestly believe, and I know this would never happen, but you know what they should do? If you want to fight, you're more than welcome to fight prelims. I know that is, and I know that is so unrealistic, but if I was in charge, that's what I do. Prelims. That's what you get. Prelims, okay? But Jon Jones ended up replying to this, right? Ended up getting 1 million views. 1 million views and only 8,000 likes. Crazy, Jon. I heard the comments made at last night's press conference. While I was a little disappointed, I'm still in the UFC's drug testing pool, staying sharp and continuing to train like a professional. I'll be ready for whatever comes next. In a recent interview, I shared that the opportunity to fight at the White House gave me something deeper to fight for, a why that goes beyond paychecks or belts. Fighting for my country gives me a greater purpose. The silver lining in all of this is knowing the fans see my heart. They see I am ready and willing to take on anyone, to represent my country on a historic stage. For me, it's never just been about the opponent. I'm chasing legacy, something timeless, something bigger than the moment. So for now, I'll keep grinding, stay patient, and stay faithful. I'm ready to fight on July 4th, #Independence Day. Dude, why does some of the biggest pieces of crap, are so proud to be American? You know what I mean? Hang on, though. This is the best part. The silver lining in all of this is knowing the fans see my heart. Depending on how you want to take that, I don't think this guy has a good heart, okay? They see I am ready and willing to take on anyone. Inaccurate. To represent a country on a historic stage. For me, it's never been about the opponent. Translation, I don't want to fight Tom Aspinall and I'm scared of him. And the crazy thing about this is he's always going to have the people like, yeah, you go, John. You go, John. That's so true, John. If you're a fan of Jon Jones in 2025, guys, you need to take a big look in the mirror, man. You had a drugged up, half-naked... I don't even know what means, but it's obviously something like, you know what I mean? But in a car, John, Baldy is done with you. I hope so, man. I hope they're actually done with him. You overplayed your hand and turned yourself into a liability. You can't stay free of legal actions for the UFC to trust you to be in good faith for a White House even. You're the epitome of a bad PR risk. Stay retired. I agree with that. I completely agree with Kristen too. Hit the nail on the head. Legacy in absolute tatters, and we're watching it get extinguished slowly. He should have fought him a year ago, should he? He's only getting older and slower. And yeah, you know what you else you could do? You could say, hey, John, if you want to fight on the White House card, have 3 events, have 3 fights, which I think that's realistic. If they're talking about next year, have 3 fights, show up to him, and give us absolutely no legal issues. Then maybe. And co-main event. Ilia Topuria, main event. Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje. That's probably what they're going to end up doing. Val Dewar had this to say. The fans do see your hurt. They see that you avoided the only rightful challenger and retired, but are only willing to come back to fight, and we're going to skip that part, and can't possibly understand why the UFC thinks it's too much of a risk to bring you into the White House. Yeah, the fans absolutely do see your heart, and I was looking at that from a different way too. The fans see your heart, and the fans see an actual horrible human being for everything that he's actually done. The Menace had this to say. I think you should prove your commitment with at least 1 fight. You should fight Ank or Aspinall, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, if you get through Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira main event, but I say 2-3 fights should be. You know what? If Jon Jones I still wouldn't trust him, to be honest with you, but what would be fair is 2, maybe 3 fights with absolutely no issues. No contract issues, no negotiating issues. Yes, I will take on the next up-and-coming challenger. Yes, I will take on Tom Aspinall. Yes, I will take on the next guy, and I will have no say in it up until the White House is when you can actually negotiate for an opponent and actually have a big fight. And then you can fight Alex Pereira if you want, okay? Buzz had this to say. You might believe everything you're saying, but we don't. You pulled a stunt that was controversial to the UFC and its fans. If you ever fight again, amazing. If not, who cares? I don't want to watch him fight. I'm sick of him, man. And I know that I'm not helping the problem by continuously yapping about this, but we're all yapping about it. I just wish that we could all collectively, and I'm not going to be one to start this because I like talking about these types of things. I like talking about the MMA community and what's going on. But it would be nice if we could all collectively just ignore Jon Jones and everything that he says. Because with the type of guy that he is, he's somebody who feeds off a negative attention. And I have to spell this because my puppy's right here. BADDOG. If you were to just how they act up when they're puppies, if they like to have, negative attention is better than no attention. That's what John's like. Just the picture of Daniel Cormier. Yup. That's a perfect response to reading what John had to say. Jeremy had this to say. You dodged Aspinall and continue getting arrested doing drugs. Why would they book you at the White House? Exactly. Right? But there's always the one guy. All right, big germ. I can't believe that people believe John and what he says. LMFAO saying he's disappointed Dana's distrusting him isn't 100% his fault is comedy. Yeah, I know. And that's what I was talking about. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that South Park episode, it's literally like Cartman trying to remembering how he wrote that joke for Jimmy. That's exactly what Jon Jones is like. You'd be a good prelim, Jones. I agree. If you want to fight on the prelims. Have a backup fight because he's obviously going to pull out, right? But it's not going to happen. But Jon Jones continued on, had a couple quote tweets because he picked out some of his favorites, right? Santa Claus had this to say, everyone loves your journey, John, and we all hope to see you at the White House. Who's a bigger name for the biggest venue ever? Come on. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being along for the ride. At the end of the day, it's all big wins. Continuing to train, fighting again, things ending with Stipe. I'm really so grateful for it all. Would have never imagined living such a blessed life. I want to know what the replies are to this one. Go on. Oh, okay. I thought they were going to say, like, I thought they were going to be a little more crude about it, if you know what I mean. But there's always those guys. And he's, you just know, like, oh my God, the GOAT quote tweeted me. Would you still fight even if it's not on the White House card? I don't think so, but right now it's hard to say. As if. I'm just going to focus on staying focused, getting in the best shape, and continuing to nail all of the business that I already have on the table. Yeah, getting in the best shape. All of the roids and PEDs he could possibly take because he looked like crap in his last fight. Daddy Dana Dunn said he can't trust you to headline anything. That's actually not what he said. He said he can't afford for anything to go wrong, which is understandable. It's hard to commit to any athletes literally still a year out. Let's not twist words. My entire career has been a main event. This guy, man. Here we go. Love to see the reply. The only fighter that had an entire card moved to a different venue due to a positive steroid test, by the way. The only fighter forced the UFC to cancel a whole event because he couldn't fight on short notice. Chael Sonnen moving up a weight class, by the way. Yeah. And that's just the beginning of it. With all the things that he's gotten up into, dude, everything and anything would go wrong at the White House. And then John would be all humble, like, I'm a proud American just sitting here fighting. Like, he's not a representation of America. That's the last person that the UFC should ever want. But if you want to dog a little bit more on Jon Jones, we have another video right here. I'd love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.